My name is Sheri Shuler, and I use she, her pronouns. I started my journey as a feminist communication scholar way back in college, and I taught a gender studies course for the first time as a grad student in the mid-90s. Back then, my class debated the big issues of the day, like Ellen coming out on her sitcom, and why do people hate First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton so much? I intentionally included LGBTQ readings and examples. I wrote articles. I put a safe zone sticker on my office door, and I kept information about what the Bible really says about homosexuality. I enjoyed being the cool professor, the one a student could feel safe to talk to about maybe they're bisexual, but they're not sure how their family will react. That space that I was creating during that time, I felt was sacred. I've always felt that. These experiences added to my understanding of allyship and gave me the confidence to parent someday with these values. So fast forward to 2006, when I was preparing to be a mom for the first time. I hoped that the baby would be a girl. Assigned female at birth, I would say now. I was less confident about raising a boy in this society who could challenge gender stereotypes. And my husband Nathan and I were excited to raise a badass feminist daughter. It was literally only a few days before my due date when we marched in the Pride Parade with church for the first time. My oldest child literally started celebrating LGBTQ pride in utero. When I first held that little infant in my arms, I began the project of raising a gender transgressor. We painted the nursery yellow. We bought feminist children's books from this very store. And we tried to match the flow of pink clothing into her dresser drawers with other colors, primary colors. When she got Barbies or princesses as gifts, we did not take them away, but we tried to counter them with other choices like doctor kits or soccer balls. We were not going to put our child into a box. It was also important to us as young parents to be intentionally non-heterosexist. We called our friends' romantic partners sweeties instead of boyfriend or wife. And we said things like, when you grow up and get married, your husband or wife will ... And we made our lesbian best friends her godmamas. We were proud of being allies, doing all the right things with intentionality. We joked that the only way this kid could rebel would be to become a conservative. If you're thinking that we sound a little smug in our progressivism, you're not wrong. There will be a redemption arc later, but not yet. As parents, we prided ourselves on being supportive, open to talk to our kids about whatever topics came up, and to help them explore interests and become their unique selves. But in middle school, when our oldest tried on different sexualities like bi or lesbian, we shrugged and said, "That's great, it's time for dinner." But then, when they questioned their gender identity, I argued instead of validating them. It's like I planned for the LGB and I forgot about the T. When they shared that they might be non-binary or even a transgender boy, I was like, what? No, that doesn't fit my narrative of what a transgender child is like. The kind that knows from when they're 3 that they're in the wrong body. I was not the absolute worst a parent could be during that era. I mean, he knew that we were always going to love him. There was no talk of kicking him out or any of that sort of thing, but I definitely was not the best. I did not provide the kind of safe space that he needed to become himself. No safe zone sign on my office door or article or professor cred could do any of this work for me with my 13-year-old. The thing about creating safe spaces, whether at work or at home or any other place, is that safe does not mean static. The speed at which our understanding of gender is changing and being pushed by our kids is enough to give a middle-aged gender studies professor whiplash. The old narratives are being rewritten as we speak, so creating safe spaces is an ongoing process. Just because all my spaces were safe in the 90s, or early 2000s, or even if they were safe last month, does not mean that they remain so now. To be truly safe means always being open to revision. You may be glad to know that eventually Nathan and I got more with the program. We each sought professional help to work out our own baggage because this was not the job of our children to do. We got better at using the correct new name and the he, him pronouns for our oldest, and then we worked on switching to they, them pronouns for our youngest. And when we slip up, our kids let us know, and we fix it and we move on. I'm learning that when one of my kids calls me out, the best thing to do is to listen, apologize when needed, and then work on changing my behavior. The tension created by defensiveness or arguing or even excessively beating yourself up does not encourage open and authentic dialogue. Working on our reactions to being caught misgendering someone is just an extension of creating a safe space. Nathan and I have come a long way, and we do okay now, but we're still always learning. We're definitely not perfect, especially with remembering the ever-changing names and pronouns of our kids' friends. But creating a safe space is to call each of their friends what they want to be called and to keep their confidences. We want our home to be a place where all the members of our family and all of our visitors can feel welcomed and free to be who they are. Creating a safe space also includes advocacy, whether that's intervening when needed with extended family members, or advocating for our kids' needs at school, or fighting for the rights of trans youth in the unicameral. I'm convinced that creating safe spaces and being a safe person means being a lifelong learner. It means listening to people who are younger and people with different experiences, even if other people have previously recognized you as an expert on the topic. May all of us strive to be open to altering our understanding of what is needed to create and recreate safety in all of our spaces.